I'm sorry, I just always wanted to do that.
You did a good job.
All right, we're going to call the Human Services Committee meeting to order at 10:02 a.m. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Nolan. Commissioner Winfrey.
Here.
Commissioner Ellenberg.
Here.
Commissioner Clemens.
Here.
Commissioner Young.
Here.
Commissioner Shoemaker. Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Newman.
Here.
Commissioner Peppin. We do have a quorum.
Okay, at this time, we'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of May 26th. Been moved and supported to approve the minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. Any public comments to the committee? Any public comments? Any public comments? Hearing none, we'll move to communications. And at this time, we'll have a special presentation by Stephanie Howard and King Kalita.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning. Click us in. Thank you all for giving us an opportunity to just come to you with some information that we have in reference to how G-Card actually functions throughout the entire county of Genesee. I'm not the first one we really want. So I'll go to the one that shows all of them, and then we'll come back to that one. So I think probably, I'm not sure, several months ago, in conversation with Josh, we started talking about just the importance of showing everywhere that G-Card is actually involved in the county. And so he asked me to partner with Ken. It's been great. And so we did that. We provided our GIS department with some information, pretty much addresses throughout the entire county where we actually have a footprint of some kind. So what you see before you in green is our commodities work that we do. And commodities, you all may know, is the program where we have food boxes that are given to low-income seniors throughout Genesee County. And so that's our largest number. You'll see that in green. In our purple, that's our Head Start program. And each of those boxes represent the county, and then the color represents that activity from each program. So our Head Start program, we have classrooms throughout Genesee County, and you'll see those there. What's going to happen, I'm going to pass it over to Ken, and he'll tell you about the dots and the clusters and the hot spots that I got educated on. In the pink, we actually have our Neighborhood Service Center. And our Neighborhood Service Center actually deals with homeless prevention, anything to keep someone in their home, utilities paid, rent, and mortgages. In the orange, you will see our nutrition services, the activity that we do throughout the county. That, again, is our mobile meals for home delivered meals and congregate meals. In the blue, that's our weatherization program. Some of that also is included in our weatherization is our hot water heater program. It's all weatherization. You guys actually approved some of that work to be done today. And so that's what you see in those color codes. What we did, again, we provided information to GIS, and they were able to take, and some of the maps that he'll show you, it was quite interesting. I felt educated on how it works, so I'll turn it over to Ken.
Okay, so I just was going to give you a quick overview of, this is our final map series, or one of them, and it took it takes a little bit of work to get to this point. So I was going to real quickly, kind of top level, explain how that works. So what we received initially was a list of all the clients from G-Card. All 5 programs, they have sets of addresses for those clients. So we use a process we've used on other things called geocoding or address matching. And basically you take each address and you find a point on the map. Well, always there's some percentage of those, 10-15% of those, that require a significant amount of error correction and checking. And what you end up with is a map that looks like this. This is all 5 programs, a dot for every client. At this kind of scale, and this is set up for a large paper map. See, those dots are just kind of messy. You can kind of see, where the concentrations are, but it's not very intuitive, not very understandable. So we worked on some methods, well, let me jump ahead one more here. So even a single program here is still, it's going to look more sparse, but it's still kind of difficult to see and interpret concentrations, if you will. So we worked on some options to, and there's a few different options in the GIS software to try to better visualize your densities, your clusters. And here's the Head Start program using what they call a kernel density function. It's basically just a way to create a surface from the points, essentially what it is. So better, again, better to visualize where those are, and then individually we did that for each of the programs to get back to that composite map. I guess another term for these is a heat map, if you think in the sense of like a weather map. Higher, darker areas, there's more concentrations. It's also difficult working with the points just because you can have points exactly on top of each other. This will also help you to pull those out. And the other big takeaway, I guess, or end product of these is that you can, by having all the points on the map, we can then accumulate that information in numerous different ways. In the case here in the center of this map, we looked at just depicting that point map, but you saw what kind of a mess that looks like. So what we did here is we were able to take the points and accumulate these by commissioner district, and then the little pie charts in each of those represents the portion of those clients within that district. So you get kind of an idea of the relative significance or size or whatever within that area. So and by having that set of point data, that can be done for any type of geography that you have. So if for various reasons, we wanted to know clients by zip code, we could do that. Clients by census tract, block, by community, by any number of things, or even in proximity. So we could look at, say, the senior nutrition program and look at the clients in proximity to the senior centers. So it opens up a lot of other opportunities that we have barely scratched the surface of. And then I guess going forward, we also have the possibility of now doing this at different time intervals and then comparing, seeing changes and that sort of thing.
Yep, Commissioner Noden.
I'm really pleased with this because, looking at this, it kind of gives me an overview of how many people are being serviced. Because I'm looking at like the commodities, the green one, and it says 1,154. Is that how many homes that commodities are going to, say, in my district?
So you see 1,000 something? I thought we were.
That's for the first district. That's on.
Oh, in
that's
your
on my
district.
sheet.
Okay,
Yeah, on my
okay.
sheet. So that's why I was just looking down and I see the numbers in parentheses. So is that how many clients are actually being serviced, or is it households or clients?
We went by addresses. And so many homes have multiple clients in the home.
Okay.
And so we did do this based on addresses.
Okay. I'm really impressed because I wouldn't have never knew this.
And we will look, forward to some changes and adjustments in these numbers because this is actually done in 2020 when we were dealing with a lot of the pandemic. So things will look different as we project again and do it at a later date. I think the takeaway for me and hopefully for you all is that there is obviously a need throughout the county. And so we're here trying to get the word out to people that we are here and we exist. And so anywhere in the county, some areas there are greater needs, but I think this does at least point out the fact that there is a need throughout the entire Genesee County.
Commissioner Young.
Yeah, is this for the fiscal, or for the calendar year 2020?
And in my conversation with Ken yesterday, I thought that would be a question because I would say we were comfortable with the calendar year 2020 because we gathered the information in 2020. And so I think the numbers that he gathered from our staff, we had them all by August of last year.
So this is the calendar year 2020 then?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Freeman.
I just want to reiterate something that Stephanie said, is that my experience has been with previous boards that they view G-Card as very Flint-centric, and I thought it was important to show commissioners that G-Card reaches out to the entire county and that there is need in the entire county for the services that G-Card performs, that this board approves to be done across the county, and that it's not just a Flint-centric organization. Obviously, there's a tremendous need in the city of Flint, but as you can see from the maps that are before you, there's need in each one of your districts for the work that G-Card is doing, so.
Commissioner Ellenberg.
Yeah, this is really helpful, thank you. I mean, I'll share it. Sometimes, like like right here, I'm looking at neighborhood service center. In my district, District 3, there's not as many dots and there's not as much color. So is that because there's no need for it, or could that be where they don't know about it? That's my concern on a lot of our programs is I think people don't know that we offer so much in our communities. So, I mean, I like the fact that it's here, but if there's less, does that mean that there's not a need, or maybe they just don't know there is a service?
Good question, Commissioner, because I think it's a combination of both. In some areas, there is a greater need. We're an anti-poverty agency, and everything we do is based on, low-income support for low-income individuals. And so I do think that you'll see some areas where there's not a great need. Some will be higher in some areas, but I also think that, again, with Josh saying what he just said, it's important for you all to know, to share the information with your communities that you represent, that we do have these resources. And so, again, I think this is, if there's another takeaway, is that, when you're out, when you're campaigning, when you're talking to your, I call them friends, your constituents and the people in your community that you support, letting them know that we have these things if you have need. I know that you do. I know that you are talking to people several times. I get calls from people, but I think this is so important for you all to see. We have so many resources that we can help throughout the county.
Well, the visual's good, because I was like looking at mine, then I was looking at Dom's. I'm like, wow, you don't have hardly any little dots or, lots of color. My area, some of it's real colorful. I mean, I thought we were having a weather storm up here. And, but, I like this really a lot, and I will probably, if I can get a copy, I'd like to take it to my city so that they can see, like City of Burton, I cover part of Flint, part of Genesee, so that they can see that they're, getting the services. And then they can tell their community more too, that there are services there, because I think we have to connect to the areas that we represent, so to know that there's services available.
Right.
So,
Right,
okay,
absolutely.
thank you.
You're welcome. And if you want a
Commissioner
copy,
Peppin?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
On the Head Start program, is that addresses or is that like number of students?
Those are addresses also. Yes, they are also addresses.
Any other
Yeah,
questions?
definitely, I'm sorry if I may, we definitely took everything in confidentiality and making sure that addresses were kept confidential as we did the work.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
I really like the map. It kind of, mine makes me feel, I don't know what to feel. I don't have as much color as everyone else does on my map. And I'm starting to think of that because I did walk my community, and I know there's great need in the area, even in my communities. I know the 6th district is thought of as, a wealthier district that doesn't need that. But I was looking at Argentine Township, and I know there's a couple areas there that I'm not seeing any dots on anything for, and it's got me reflecting and wondering, one, I think part of it is back to a communication issue. I think a lot of these people out there don't know, or they aren't informed of the resources. And I was just wondering if we have brochures, pamphlets, that I could take and drop off to each of my municipalities there. That would be a great help for each program. In addition to that, I was wondering if G-Card would be willing to go around to the municipalities, because most of them have upgraded their technology for their meetings and their broadcast every time. And I found that a lot of seniors in my community, when I was on Fenton Township Board, watch those meetings. And if we could go out there, and in my community, I'd be glad to go with you, or if you want to train me so I could speak it and understand it enough that I could explain it to my residents in each of these communities, I'd be glad to go out there. But and I'm looking at others, that there are areas that I think just don't understand it or know that it's available to them. And I think I would like to be part of that solution, at least in my community and maybe in others. And if there is this information, if you would, Stephanie, get it to me and I'll be glad to do it. And if there's other communities that we can't reach out to, maybe as commissioners, we could share going to them because it is a definite need. It is definitely an issue. And I thank you for the map. It is a wake-up call to me to get out into my communities and let them know that there's more there. And then there's also, on the other side of it, I think we need to understand there's a pride type thing in certain communities that they don't feel they should ask for help from others, and that's costing them and their families also. And that could be an education program we could put out there because unfortunately, pride comes before the fall. And I thank you for it. And if you could get me any brochures or information you have, I will go around to all my municipalities and I'll make sure they're there. And if you would, when you think about it, if you guys could show up to these meetings, if not, take a day, train me on all the stuff, and I will go to the meetings and I'll be glad to spread the word out in my community. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
All right, Commissioner Young.
Yeah, I think you guys have done a fantastic job on this also. Ken, I really appreciate what you're able to do to let us see what actually transpires this way. You know, and Stephanie, you know, fantastic job that you guys do on doing the work. And I've mirrored what Commissioner Shoemaker says about us maybe not getting that information out to everybody. And you know, that's one thing I think we've all talked about, and I think we need to look at possibly kind of rededicating ourselves to the possibility of getting somebody to help us get those messages out of all these services that are there. And I also understand what you pointed out too, Commissioner Shoemaker, when you talk about some of the people don't want to, you know, take help or get help, so to speak. And that's up to us to kind of remove that stigma and say, this isn't necessarily help. This is programs that are out there that are available to you, and it's not a matter of help or not help, but it is our desire that it does help you and make your life better in the process. So, you know, yeah, I agree. We need to get that messaging out, and you know, and I think we fall far short of that.
All right, Commissioner Newman.
I would also like to say that I agree with Commissioner Shoemaker and Commissioner Young. I think it's fantastic what you're doing. And I would also like brochures or some more information or any kind of training you can give to help me help my communities.
Absolutely, and I will make sure you all get informational flyers. Well, they're actually, it's like a card stock, it's really nice. So you can have them with you. And then it has been a conversation I've had with myself that it would be a, where quarterly, maybe we could show up at township meetings and things like that, where I can bring my program directors, they could talk about the services that are provided throughout their programs. And so I would love to partner with you and just do that. So we can, you know, if it's not every meeting, but at least quarterly or something like that, where in those meetings, we can let different areas know what we provide. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Even just an annual, I'm sorry to speak, I apologize, Mr.
Okay,
Chair.
Commissioner Shoemaker and then Commissioner Clemens.
Even annually I think would just be a big change. Plus, you know, it helps build those bonds with the community. So if one of the supervisors or one of the, you know, people who are at the front desk are there and they see somebody come in who's struggling with their taxes or something, they might say to them, hey, you know what else we have? You know, go take a look at this. And I just think it would be great, and it's a great outreach. Plus, it looks good for us at Genesee County because we are trying to help so many people, and sometimes we fall short of that, but our main goal is to do that, and I think it'd be wonderful. So anything I could do to help, you get a hold of me.
Thank you.
So I would say that they are one of the most important departments in the county, that you address the needs that we see in the community and that have that very public-facing touch. One question I have, I don't know if we've done it in the past, I know COVID, you know, the world's been turned upside down, but if we haven't done it, it's something we could do in the future, where many of our communities have fairs and festivals. We have, you know, 4th of July festivals and hometown days in Swartz Creek, Blueberry Festival in Montrose, and so on and so forth throughout most of our communities. Could we start having tents at these festivals and events, not just in the city of Flint, but throughout the county, to continue to promote the word? Because I think more than just a presentation at a local government meeting, which a lot of folks aren't going to go to, or some brochures, but being able to flesh to flesh interact with folks when they're out doing fun things and gaining information, things can be much more impactful than more government meetings.
Absolutely. And prior to the COVID, we had started to amp up being in public settings. Part of most of the dollars that we get, they want us to be somewhere showing what we do. And so we had started that. I had a lady that's what she did. She had a cart full of all G-Cart stuff, and she would go out and set up a table at so many events. And we were getting tons of requests to be at places. So I see that growing again as we're coming out of the pandemic. Absolutely. And that was so important for us to just start to build our community, put our face out in the community more. Absolutely.
Commissioner Ellenberg.
Yeah, I know, prior to the pandemic, we had a few lunches that we brought all of the directors of the senior centers together. And that's a good way to reach out to your community, because a lot of the people go to the senior centers. And I remember, you brought a lot of flyers so that all of the senior centers would have that. And then it was really we had a little luncheon, and everybody kind of talked about what they needed, what the senior centers needed, how the food program was working, how to distribute the food, and, so that it was the right fit for certain centers. So those things is something that maybe, Commissioner Winfrey would consider maybe sitting down, now that we can meet, is sit down and talk to all your senior directors together at a lunch, or you could even have them come down here. But it was really eye-opening to listen to all of them and kind of talk about their centers and what they offer. And then, you can almost most of them have some type of newsletter, but everybody has different ideas, and it was, they kind of bounced off each other, and it was very informative. And I think this would be an eye-opener for all the senior directors, so that they could all look and compare and work together to say, oh, you know what, I can help you maybe get the word out to another, like Fenton area. Because the Fenton Senior Center was there, they go, wow, we're not really targeting, I know there's an area that could use this. And so then they can reach out to them, because that's the easiest reach out, is to your senior centers. So anyway, thank you.
Commissioner Norton.
I'm not going to comment on this. I just wanted to ask the question to Stephanie, because I'm looking at the commodities, and I know everybody has the commodities piece in their district. Are we talking about possibly doing the delivery where, the commissioners or other folks could,
We used to do that.
Yeah, we used to do it, and that's a great way to be out in your district, because you actually deliver the meals to the seniors. They get a chance to interact with you, and I was wondering if you guys are thinking about possibly doing that again.
So that's the Big Wigs on Wheels to meet the.
I don't like the name of it, but
Something,
that's
something
fine.
like that. And that's where you all came together and were able to deliver the home delivered meals to seniors who are homebound.
Yeah.
Now, the commodities, that would be another challenge, because these are 50,
big
75-pound boxes. But what I would love to do is have a day where you all were able to maybe, go along with us, so you can see, some of the people. They're so appreciative. I had a lady she was 94 last year, so she's probably like 95 this year, and getting her boxes, if she didn't get them, she's gonna call us, she wanna know where they're at. And so she was so appreciative, because she said, I only get to go to the grocery store every 3 or 4 months when my granddaughter comes and takes me, so I depend on the food. And so this was, a lady who showed up, and we showed up, and she was so excited that the food showed up at her door. And so, yeah, I think she would love to have, a face show up with us.
It's really nice. It's really, and I'm in with this, it's really nice to be able to do it, because when I was able to do it, it actually was able to deliver to somebody in my district too. So it really was like twofold. They're actually seeing you, the commissioner for that district, actually delivering to their doorstep, and you get a chance to interact with them too. And the word of mouth from that can go a long way. So it's just something that, it was great that you guys did it, and hopefully we can do that again.
Yes, I'm going to assume, because that's partnered with VAAA, I'm going to assume that past this pandemic, we will be back to that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, thanks to both of you for your work and for your presentation.
Great job.
Okay, moving on to old business, there's none. New business, item A, G-Card.
Can we move 1, 2, and 3?
Support.
Moved and supported to move items A1 through 3. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. Item B, medical examiner.
We move 1 and 2.
Or,
It's been moved and supported to move items B1 and 2. Any discussion?
Yeah, just real, go.
good, good.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, I see that these are just modifications. Could you just give us an update on what those modifications are?
Yeah, it's just another year of the contract.
That's what I was thinking.
That's all, we're extending it by 1 year.
Okay, that was it for me.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
I saw that we're extending it, and my question was, is there another company to contract with that we could have sent out and?
Well, this was a bid. It's the second or third renewal of the bid. 2 companies applied and Preferred was the cheapest of the 2 at the time.
At that time. So how long are we going on this now? 3
I think
years?
we have one more renewal before it goes out for rebid.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? Well, hear none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Is there any other business before this committee? Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you. I just wanted to say before we leave how nice it is to be back and see everyone's smiling faces at this point, and what a blessing it is, and it's a cause for celebration. I hope we all cherish this moment because it's really, really enjoyable for me. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, I
Commissioner
just have,
Ellenberg.
a statement. Saturday was basically declared Juneteenth, and it's a national holiday. It was nice to be involved, nice to see the smiling faces, and, it was raining that day. We, participated in the parade. We've done it many times. This time was in a car, thank God. But, to see the elderly stand in the rain and their smiles on their face, that this was such an accomplishment for them to have this day. And the little kids weren't so happy because, they were like, they haven't learned that history. I mean, I have a granddaughter that is mixed, and I tried to get her to participate in her heritage. And, that day she didn't, but I hope that in the future she does. So I think it was a good day for everybody to have that, a parade and brought to the surface so that we can work on all of this racism and that we can be better people. So,
Good.
thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing none, we stand adjourned at 10:30.